The name is Smooth Boy C. This is gonna be my first ever video for YouTube, for Destiny, the whole shebang. I would like to stress that I'm not an in-game player. I don't play in-game content. I'm getting there for sure, but purposely for this build is for people who play this game on a regular basis. For people who play this game and just want to go through the game without getting frustrated, dying, and they want to survive, this is the build for you. So let's get into it. So we have Shadow Shot Deathfold as our super. Basically, upon contact, it weakens and suppress targets. When you spawn orbs, you're gonna get over shields based off facet of purpose. It grants over shields to the super that you're using, or it grants restoration, or it grants overmail based on the super you're using. We're gonna go with Gambler's Dodge, Threaded Spike for severing targets, and Magnetic Grenade. Granted, you can use whatever you want based on the secondary weapon you're using. So you can use Arc Bolt Grenade, or you can use Swarm Grenade. We're going with Ascension as our aspect, and we're going with Threaded Spectre. Granted, you're probably wondering why I'm not using Stylix Execution. For my gameplay, Stylix Execution don't work for me. It don't work for me, don't work for everybody. I just don't use it. So we're going with Facet of Purpose. Let me express something. Ascension is simply to make me amplified. It's perfect for amplifying and jolting targets. So if you don't have, there's no arc on this build whatsoever. This is the only arc setup on this build, just to make you amplified and jolt. So we have Facet of Purpose, Facet of Hope. When you have Elemental Buff, your class ability regenerates more quickly, which is Amplified, Overshields, and Radiant. Facet of Dominance, your Void Grenades weakens targets, which allow you to do more damage to those targets. Facet of Dawn, your power melee hit against targets make them radiant. So that means your weapon will also be doing more damage based off of artifact. I said artifact. Fragment. Facet of Protection. While surrounded by combatants, you are more resistant to incoming damage, while Transcendent effect is increased. We're going to be Transcendent damn near all the time. I hope y'all understand that. A Facet of Devotion. Defeating a target afflicted with status or strand debuff grants bonus light transcendent energy. Again, this is going to cause you to gain darkness and light energy, which is perfect for this build. We're going to talk about weapons first. We're using a Dyad. The only reason why we're using a Dyad is because it's one of the most powerful strand weapon in the game right now. I chose to put on a Hatchling refit on here for the simple fact that I want to create as much hatchlings as possible. So we're doing crazy amount of damage even when we're not shooting. Then we're using the Lotus Eater. You can use whatever weapon you like in here based on the grenade you're using. I'll choose this based on the content I'm doing. The content I'm using gonna have barriers, so we need that for barriers. We have destabilizing rounds for volatile rounds, and we have strategists for our class ability. For your heavy, you could really use whatever you like. That is really up to you. I like this new weapon that they added into the game. It's really nice. But I chose this because, one, I'm going to be able to have unraveling rounds with this weapon, and also I'm going to have hatchlings with this weapon. As for your artifacts, we're going to tap on that real quick. We're using the piercing sidearm for the simple fact that this content requires barriers. So we're going to get into that. We're going to be using volatile marksman, unraveling orbs, elemental siphon, horde of shuttle. So those are the most important ones in my opinion. But please copy this as you see. It's gonna everything ties in. I just mentioned the 4 due to the fact that I don't want to make make this video too long. All right, we're gonna get right into our armor pieces, starting off with our exotic helmet, the Foetracer. I feel like I'm pronouncing that right. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Damaging a powerful combatant or guardian with an ability temporarily increases weapon damage of the same type. Defeating that marked target with damage that matches elemental creates an elemental pickup, which again in turn, whenever I use my threaded spike, it's going to cause my dyad to do increased damage. And then if I defeat a marked target with my dyad, I also create an elemental pickup, which would be a tangled, which then in turn will make my weapon unraveled and cause unraveling rounds. It's an amazing helmet. Going in for our arms, we're going with focusing strike, impact induction, momentum transfer. I'm not going to explain those. Copy and paste. Then you could choose whatever you like based on the content you're playing for your chest. For your legs, copy and paste, please. And for your cloak, again, copy and paste, please. Here you go. A little picture of the character for you to just copy and paste this build, please, and thank you. So after this, we're getting right into our build. I hope you like the video. Hope you like the content. Please like and subscribe for more videos.